Let's begin. My name is Vinay Sukumaran, and this webinar is scheduled to be for 1 hour. It's 11:03, so we will go on till about 12:03. And the focus of this webinar is a couple of things. First of all, we're looking at Bodhi's learning management systems, but of course we're looking at learning management systems in general. Just a couple of housekeeping measures before we begin. If it's a good idea for you to mute yourself. In case not, I've muted you already. But if you have any questions, please put it up on the chat screen. I'm constantly watching the chat screen. I can see Tashi who said, "Good morning, thanks for inviting us." I can see a couple of other people, Shashi, saying good morning and so on. So if you see the chat screen, you will also see my good morning everyone message there. Whatever questions you have, you can put it up there. I'm happy to answer them. We're going to focus on blended learning with a specific focus on LMS. And that's going to be the plan for the next 1 hour. So we have some people to join us, but like I keep saying, it's important for us to respect the time of the people who come here on time, okay, who shown up here on time. So in keeping with that spirit, let's begin. Since some of you are probably attending a Bodhi webinar for the first time, let me just say a quick word about the company. So we are called Bodhi Training Solutions. We're primarily into the business of OD, or organizational development. There are a lot of ways to develop an organization, including increasing salaries, including changing the location of the company. You know, sometimes when you move your company from an unknown city to a more popular city, you could become a better company. Okay, but our approach is by providing training. So we mostly work with companies which say these are the people we have, and this is how we let's look at how to improve them. I see somebody here, Kamana, who says, "Hi, everyone can't hear you." Kamana, you should check your sound system. And there's no point me saying that, because if you can't hear me, you wouldn't hear me say that. Just give me a minute. Okay. The other point that I want to make is that we work with over 1,000 clients. We have helped many clients set up internal training divisions. We also have a very structured approach to training. And all our workshops, I see some of you here who've been our participants, like Kamna, like Major General Rajesh Sahai, and so on. So I'm sure you've been able to experience a workshop which is hands-on, which is experiential, which is practical, which is application-oriented. That's really the work that we do. These are some of the clients who we work with. I hope there are names that you recognize. Daimler is the company which makes Mercedes on the left bottom. Left top is Microsoft. We're one of their chosen vendors. I also teach at IIM Bangalore. I'm one of the guest faculties there. You see that on the right top. And these are some more clients who we work with. Okay, I hope there are names there which you recognize too. And we are also an ISO company certified by this rather elite German body called TÜV. Okay, and these are the areas in which we train. So we only do non-technical training, and in the non-technical domain, we do training related to sales, communication, leadership, and human resource management, also on what's largely called soft skills or behavioral skills. Okay, with that 2-minute introduction, let me begin the actual crux of the matter. So I want to start by talking about blended learning for individual and organizational development. Now, there's a whole lot of debate about what exactly is blended learning. Also, when you call it blended learning, and what is non-blended learning, and so on. So I have a couple of images here, and I think this particular webinar is going to be largely image-driven, because I've seen increasingly that sometimes one image can convey a whole lot of ideas and long durations of talking. Those of you who just come in, welcome. We've just started the webinar, and you can follow it from where we are. Okay, so let me just start with some bare basics. Those of you who in school did sets or what's called Venn diagrams, right? Set theory or Venn diagrams. I'm sure you would recognize this. So on the right side, you see classroom training. People who the face-to-face training which you conduct in classrooms, in conference rooms, in banquet halls. On the left side, you see online learning, all kinds of learning that are available online. And in between these two, there is a happy medium which is called blended learning. And that's something that blended learning is all about. Now, I must say that this is just an initial and basic way of looking at it. There are other ways to look at blended learning, which I'm going to share with you as we go along. In the meantime, if you do have questions, if there are questions that you want to answer, things that you want me to throw more light on, please put it up on the chat screen, and I'm watching the chat screen. Okay, just to take this one step further, now this is also an extension of blended learning. So on the top you have classroom training. On the right, on the left you have virtual classroom, which is typically your laptop, which is the most comfortable and robust way of doing it. But on the right you have something which is called on demand, which is your mobile phones or your iPads, basically a handheld device-based training. So what's interesting is that blended learning is a way of not just combining online and classroom, but also meeting the demands of the situation and seeing what the market requires, what people require, what students require nowadays, or sometimes what your workforce requires. So the first step, blended learning could be seen as a combination of classroom and online. And the second step is classroom, online, as well as meeting the demands of the situation. All right. Next, I want to take a look at some of the elements here. Now, this is what makes blended learning useful. Now, apart from understanding whether it's useful for us, what is blended learning and so on. Here are the dimensions that I'd like you to keep in mind. First of all, what you see on the left, the figure in red and what's written in red. One of the things that blended learning helps you do is it helps you keep the focus individual. And each person has the comfort of being on his own personal journey. Now, this is one of the things that blended learning offers. There's a whole field of people, and I was coaching somebody recently, and he said that when I'm really effective when I communicate one-to-one, I'm really effective when I communicate with two people, but if there are three or more people, I feel uncomfortable. I feel watched. I feel there's a lot of social pressure on me. And he's also the kind of person who feels tired being in office the whole day because there are so many people in office and he feels watched. So for somebody like this person, there's a scope of being on your own private individual journey and doing it from the comfort of your own living room or your room. The other part, what you see in green on top, online learning, personalized online learning, this also gives an opportunity to people to personalize the learning. And what I mean by personalize is to make it cater exactly to you. So if you're a person, say you're a salesperson working for an automobile dealership in a big city, all right? Somebody can have a ready-made sales training program and move it online and only change or customize the program with individuals to, for example, if you have a technique called as ice breaking, okay? Now it's a general sales technique, how do you break ice with your customers. Now you can customize this and make it personalized and say, how do you break ice in your dealership when somebody walks in to buy a car? How do you break ice with that person? And that can be an exercise. And this personalizes that sales program and makes it cater to you. So this is the second part of it. On the right, which you'll see in blue color, in light blue, small groups. So you always have the option of actually seeing the group in front of you and doing a small session with them. So like, in fact, something like what I'm doing right now. This is called a webinar, but I can see some of your wonderful faces here. So those of you who kept your camera on, you can continue to keep it on, but this is mostly a PPT-driven, a slide-driven webinar. Okay, so that's the other thing that you can have a small group session. You can have what's called as LVC or live virtual classrooms, That's another option that you have. The fourth thing, what you see at the bottom in dark yellow or close to orange shade, is it's collaborative. You have an option in when it comes to blended learning to collaborate. In fact, the whole idea of discussion boards is extremely powerful. Even if you have, for those of you who are not familiar with the discussion board, your WhatsApp group, those of you who are part of a WhatsApp group, which I think is all of you, your WhatsApp group is nothing but a discussion board. So somebody posts something saying, oh God, did you see what the political party X did? And everybody else in the group has something to say about it. That's a discussion board. And you have an option in a learning management system to actually have a discussion board, and that makes the learning really collaborative, and the trainer or the coach has an option of stepping in and saying, look, I think this is what you agree with, this is what you don't agree with. I don't agree with this part, and I think this part is completely not true because this is not how it's working today in companies. So you have an option of moderating the discussion. Okay, and that's also what makes it collaborative. So just do a recap. Individual focus. You have the option of online personalized learning, small group, making sure you can address small groups and to make it collaborative. Okay, let me see. Viewer 19, no sound. I have some of my own teammates in the office, at the Bodhi office, who are listening to me, and I think they can hear me. So I think the sound is working perfectly. Could you just check your sound system? Okay, let me move on. The next part is, okay, so here we go. This is another interesting dimension of blended learning. The whole focus, you must remember, is to keep it student or participant centered. Okay, that's really the whole focus. The focus of blended learning is to keep it student centered, is to keep it participant centered. It is not blending for blending's sake. It's blending for a purpose. It's blending so that you meet the needs of the situation, you move with the times, and so on. So, for example, teacher-led instruction, face-to-face sessions and interactive sessions will continue to be there, except that now you will be doing it online. So people often say that, there's face-to-face and there's online, but online could be face-to-face. I can see your face through Skype. I can see your face through the LMS, right? And I can see the reaction of the students. The students can see what I'm saying and so on. So while it is virtual, it continues to be face-to-face. In fact, there was an interesting article by Vailar Murthy a couple of years ago from the Indian Institute of Management, who said, he asked a couple of questions. Firstly, which was the biggest competitor to, I think it was Kodak? And the second question, he said, which is the biggest camera company? Yeah, that was the question. The second question was, which is the biggest music company? And the third question was, which is the biggest competitor to British Airways? And people had all sorts of answers. And the twist in the tail was that at that time, the biggest camera company was not Kodak, was not Sony and so on. It was Nokia, which sold more cameras than any camera company in the world through their mobile phones. Likewise, the biggest music company were companies like Airtel and Hutch, which sold a lot of music through their caller tones and so on. And the biggest competitor to British Airways was not Singapore Airlines, was not Malaysian Airlines, was not Virgin, was actually software like Skype and Cisco's video conferencing system, because they could speak to each other face to face and through a video conference, people did not have to catch a flight and travel half the world away. So that's something that you can keep in mind, that it's teacher-led instruction continues to be there. There's also a lot of scope, if you look on the right, for web-based assessments. So feedback, reflection, and outcomes. You have a choice right from the beginning to start assessing your participants. You can give them an online test. You can give them any kind of an assessment. You can give them You can even conduct an assessment by doing an interview, by doing a simulation, by asking the person a few questions, so giving the person a quiz. All these are parts of an LMS. So there's a huge scope for assessment, because what happens in a class-to-class assessment will seem like a separate piece by itself, where you have to get printouts, give it out to them, do the assessment, and so on. Now with a lot of assessments, including psychometric assessments, moving online, this is a great way to integrate assessments into your learning and into your training intervention. The next thing, what you see at the bottom, computer-mediated instruction. So while it's visual, while it's digital, it gives you a lot of scope. Like, for example, now as I'm talking to you, this webinar is getting recorded, and people who could not attend this will have access to the recording, and you can also watch it again, use parts of it, and reproduce it in your own explanation to somebody about what blended learning is, and so on. So there's a lot of scope to do those sorts of things in an online environment. Basically, what I'm getting at is that forget about whether it's learning or not. Just being online has certain advantages. Through blended learning, you actually tap into all these advantages. Okay, I see some of you still having a video on. I have no problems. We can continue to keep it on. Just be aware that blended learning, you already have access to all the soft copy of the material. And since that's the way in which the world is going, I think that's a good place to be in. Remember, I was recently talking to a group and telling the group that to write down on a sheet of paper. And there were some people who were looking zapped. They said, write down on a sheet of paper? And I didn't realize why they were so confused. They said, can we use like a notepad instead? Can we use MS Word? I said, okay, of course you can use MS Word. But the default thinking seems to be online thinking. And that being the case, I think blended learning is a good way to combine the two. All right, so let me move on to the next part of the story, which is evolving training with the times and the power of technology. So here's what I'm noticing. This is a message to all of you. I've been noticing that people who don't move with the times, they tend to get left out. Recently, I went to a bookshop in Bangalore. I don't want to name them, but they were one of the biggest bookshops in Bangalore at one point. And I went in to buy something. The bookshop was empty, and I think they own that building, so they have 3 floors of the bookshop, and there was almost nobody there. And then I bought what I had to, and I asked this person, has all the online business, has that impacted your business? He said, yes, 75% of our business is affected because of online, because of Amazon and Flipkart and the like. So I said, so are you doing something about it? And he said, what do you want me to do? You want to compete with them? I said, with them. So I said, you can collaborate with them, because at the end of the day, you buy a book from Amazon, eventually it gets picked from a godown or a store and it gets delivered. So how about becoming that part of the, of Amazon's extended, what should I say, bookshop wing, and trying that out? He said, no way. He said he doesn't want to compete with them. He said, all these online people, they're rogues. And which is very interesting, because this old gentleman, his bookshop is empty and there's nobody there, but still he does not want to change. He does not want to move into the online platform. And I think there's a great danger out there, not just for bookshops, but for everybody. Oh, what do I have here? I'm unable to hear. I hope you can hear right now. Voice is fine now. Okay, thanks for that, Haridas Nair. Sakshi, lost sound again. It's back. Okay. Next, so I'd like you to, the point that I want to make is I think it's a good idea for you to move with the times. So the SMART model for technology integration is an interesting model. It's a continuum. On the left hand, you have no technology. On the right hand, you have maybe complete technology. Okay, so you move from no tech to full tech or complete tech. And the first step you could take, and by the way, this is my suggestion to you, those of you who have been hesitant to move, hesitant to change into technology. By the way, I've been one of them. Don't want to talk like a great evangelist of this, but I was telling the group in the last webinar that I'm still not on Facebook, but under the pressure of necessity, I've had to have my own website. I have to have my own blog. I've had to be popular, or I won't say popular. Sorry, I had to be active on LinkedIn because there's just no way out and there's no escaping it. So I urge all of you to do that because you might be working twice as hard to get half the results without technology. So the first thing you can do is substitution, which means it acts as a tool to substitute for some small things. So for example, if you finish a training program, or before the training program, maybe you can ask them to register online. That's the first step. Once they register, after the program, you can collect feedback online. Now, this is a small way of substitution, of using technology for substitution. That's the S of the SAMR. The next one is augmentation, where you can use technology to actually replace or improve some things which you have in the program. So, for example, okay, let me just give you something which I did recently for a workshop. I asked recently in a presentation skills workshop, I told groups to go out and say, sit in a different room, one person present, and have your presentation recorded on your phone, and after that, as a group, you sit and analyze your own presentation, the recording of it, and give yourselves feedback. Now, this is something I would have done only face-to-face, but now, since people are dying to use their mobile phones, you might as well use it for the right reasons. So that's what I mean by augmentation, so using technology for that. Second, the next part is modification. You could actually redesign certain tasks through technology. A great example which I came across some time back with, I'd gone to do a workshop for a group of doctors, and the drug company which was doing the workshop had this sense of, oh, they are doctors, very, they come with a lot of prestige and gravitas, and therefore they don't want to listen to you, and they don't want you to tell them that they are wrong. So what they did was, this company, they showed them a case study about a child who had some sort of problem, and they had a pediatric drug, right, by the way. That's what they did. And they had a group of about 200 doctors in the room. And they asked the doctors, and by the way, the guy who's talking, the guy who was presenting wasn't a doctor. He was from the drug company. He was an expert on the drug. Okay? So they asked the doctor, what do you think is happening to this child? And 90% of the people said pneumonia. And 10% of the people said it's not pneumonia, it could be something else. By the way, these are the only two options. Okay? Was it pneumonia or was it something else? And now if you called a doctor up and asked him that, he would have said pneumonia and he would have made a fool of himself. Because it wasn't pneumonia, and that's what the drug company was trying to show. But they had buzzers. Every participant had a buzzer. They could vote A or B, and when they voted, the statistics showed. So it was a great way for the drug company to say, 90% of you are useless. There are only 10% of the doctors here who know the right answer. And the good news is, we don't have to tell you who those 10% are. So that's the good use of technology for modification, and a great way for the doctors to get the message without themselves having to be told. And the last part is redefinition. What happens in redefinition is the technology allows for creation of new tasks which were previously inconceivable. So, for example, something which you just could not do earlier, you could do nowadays with technology. For example, imagine having, nowadays ever so often when I do a program, everybody in the program forms a group. Okay, and if I have to follow up with that group, if I finish the program and I have to meet the whole group once in a month, the only traditional way of doing it is to go and meet them face to face or make a phone call. Now with technology, I can kill many birds with one stone by putting them all in a group and keep putting updates there, gaining their participation, asking them to put in their views and so on. So it's a good way to redefine and change something which you could never do earlier. So as you see this guy, if you're not in tech, you're just looking at the ocean from outside. But substitution is like getting onto a boat. Augmentation is like snorkeling. You're just below the. Modification is like scuba diving, and redefinition is really you're in a submarine. Okay, which really gives you the power to dig deeper. Okay, so let me move on to the next. This is another big idea. I think it's since 4 quadrants are popular in all walks of life, from business schools to corporate meeting rooms. I'd like you to look at this like this. At the bottom, there's technology and media infused, and at the top, okay, I'm talking about the y-axis. At the top, you will have minimal technology or media, and on the x-axis, on the left-hand side, you will have conventional face-to-face or classroom, and on the right-hand side, you have something which is fully online. So this is a great way to look at how blended learning can be used. And for example, the top left quadrant, the quadrant right here, okay, you have minimal technology and face-to-face. So you can use things like, you can ask the professor or the trainer a question through email. You can have e-lectures. This is basic technology, minimal technology intervention, and keeping it as much as possible face-to-face. On the right, the technology used is still minimal, but it's fully online. So what this means is students meet online and they use simple technology such as CMS, electronic bulletin boards, and so on. So this is equivalent to some of the basic fully online programs that started many years ago. Okay, where the program was like, imagine a long distance program. They would send the content to you. They would email, or rather they would courier the books to you, and you would have to learn it and take up the exam. So what is your interaction with the university or the teaching, the training body? You get the material, you register, you get the material, and you do your exams and you get your results. That's it. Okay? So just like that, those things have just been moved online. You register online, you get your material online, you take your exams online, and you get your marks online. But everything else remains the same. Fully online at the bottom is technology or media infused, so there's more technology or media use. Here, students could actually meet the teacher face to face. You have live lectures. You have other students talking, sharing their ideas. You may have, in fact, recently somebody who I know who's doing an online course. They've moved so much online that they also have something called as going out online. Going out online means after a week of hard work, when the weekend comes, just like what a lot of people do in big cities, they go out on Saturday, Sunday, and have a drink with their friends, or go for coffee with their friends, okay, or they watch a movie with their friends. So they have something called as going out online, where you're sitting in your house, but you're logged on, and you open a beer in your room and connect with all the other people who are in their respective rooms, having a drink with you, but it's going on online. Likewise, you can be in your room and all of you can watch the same movie online and sort of talk about it and put your comments on it, or you can make your own coffee and sit in your room and meet your friends online. So this is really moving into high technology and fully online. And the other one, the bottom left, is face-to-face in classroom. High technology. Here is where you might meet the teacher, but there's a lot of technology used right there. Use of digital technology, use of simulation. Like for example, if you're learning to fly a plane, you would go somewhere, but they would take you to a simulation room and put you into a place which is like a real flight. Okay, like a flight simulator. So this is where technology is used. Or you have tutorials, you have digital videos, You have programs where you are video recorded and your recording is broadcast for the whole group and they all give feedback on your recording. And you rewind and replay what you did wrong and rewind and replay again and so on. Yeah, I think that's the next part of what I had to say. I just want to leave you with one or two ideas. One is that don't think that just because you move into technology or blended learning, it's not a replacement. It's not a replacement. It's not a substitute for intelligence. Okay, so that's what I have here, which says same old thinking, same old results. And this is what I've noticed. I've found that the most useless trainers, they could use technology to again create a useless program. Okay, the trainers who don't have great ideas, they could use technology to put those same bad ideas out there. On the other hand, if you have a fine mind, if you can think of smart ideas, if you know what are the right things to say, and if you're a person who genuinely cares about your participants, you will show those qualities also in an online training. You will show those qualities in a blended learning session. And I've noticed this quite a few times, especially on the social media platforms. There's a person who face-to-face is a closed person. He can't make interesting conversations. He does not have a sense of humor, for example. He moves on to LinkedIn. And in LinkedIn also, he's a boring person. He does not have a sense of humor. And he has fewer people following him. On the other hand, you have another person who's got a great sense of humor, full of life, always connected with people well. And such a person moves to an online platform, and suddenly you realize that he's got so many more followers. So, at the end of the day, online, you will carry your qualities even online. You can't, you can't keep your qualities behind and suddenly become a new person online. So the idea is these things will support you, but there's no substitute for competence. All right, so just one or two things about using LMS before I pass it on to my colleague Rupa, who take you through a demo of how to use BOSI's learning management system, and this is something that all of you have access to. Just to give you an idea of the learning management system, pre, post, and during training. Okay, so here's some statistics. This is really the way in which it has been used in recent times. Online and blended learning. It's been used for education, 21%. Okay, 12% for technology, manufacturing, and these are the different industries in which it's been used. It's interesting to say that the governments have used it the least, just 2%. What I would have expected to see higher, for example, consulting, they've used just 7% of blended learning. Okay, and the highest have been technology companies and education companies, and others all put together is 29%. Technology companies are understandable because for them, using technology is a part and parcel of everyday life. And education has been really the space where it's being used the most. I am assuming that all these things like Coursera, Udemy, MIT's OpenCourseWare are all outcomes of that. One more point, this is also something that I'd like you to carry with you, which is, I mean, these are just the different shades, if you like, the 50 shades of blended learning, or the different shades of blended learning. So you can, ebook is one of the ways of doing it. Okay. Then after that, online materials, just having online training materials, teaching online classes, doing course design online. I mean, just imagine if there are 5 people, we have a client where there are people, they have offices in Bangalore, in the US, in I think Detroit. They have an office in Europe, in Madrid, and they also have an office in Singapore. And there are trainers who are seated in each of these places. Isn't it wonderful to have all these people collaborate through a common platform and create content which you can use, which you can discuss ideas, create something, recreate it, scrap some ideas, bring in new ideas. So all these things are possible. It's also possible for parents to interact with their teachers, interact with the students through their mobile phones. Group activities, you can have online activities. Like this is something that they did for one of former social media partners, Rohit Nayak, he did this for one of his clients where he had something like an internal championship league in his company based upon how much they learn. So you have different teams, you learn new things, and you go online and you answer questions through quizzes. And each time you answer questions and you do it well, you get a badge. And everyone's badge is revealed at all points of time to who's leading, who's winning, and who's losing, almost like a football tournament. So these are different ways of doing it. I think to move into actually showing you a demo, and I want to pass it on to my colleague Rupa, who will take you through this demo. Okay, just give me 1 minute. I'm going to pass it on to Rupa. Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. This is Rupa. I'm going to demonstrate how to use LMS to enhance the training effectiveness. Okay. So let me just start. Okay. So let me just add the username, password. Okay. So I've just logged into the LMS, our LMS. Okay, now here I'm going to take you through 4 different areas. Okay, the first one being how do you create a course. Okay, second, how do you add a company. Third, how do you add the participant. And fourth, how do you assign the course to the participant. Okay, so let me start by creating the course. So click on create course. Okay, now we need to add the course name, save and go. Okay, now in this we have 4 different areas or rather 4 different steps. The first one is the course objective. Okay, now does your course have any prerequisites? Now certain programs like, for example, like Master Trainer Certification, participant needs to have done, conducted, say about 50, 100 programs before they could attend the Master Trainer Certification. So based on your requirement, you can put the prerequisites here. Now, since I have taken up the course is Enhancing Customer Focus for Freshers, I don't have any prerequisites here. So I type it as no. Okay. Who is the target audience? Okay. So I have chosen here as fresher. You can put in your target audience here. Then the next is, what will they learn at the end of the course? Okay. Okay. Now the participants are going to a short description about what the participants are going to learn from the course. We will just put in here and then say save. So a course objective is done. Next we are going to the landing page. Okay. Now here we are going to add the course title, which is the Enhancing Customer Focus. The course subtitle, you can have your own course subtitles as to what you want the participants to learn from this course. You can add in that. Then the course objectives or the description, a brief about the course. Some basic information like English, whether it's UK, US, level. I've chosen, I think I mentioned to you earlier that I've chosen the beginner level, the freshers. Category, it falls under soft skills, and the subcategory is the customer orientation. Now, what is primarily taught in this course? Okay, I have chosen 4 points here. It is based on the number of days of workshop you're choosing, what are the different sessions covered. You can add those points here. The next is you can add an image. So when the participant logs in to the app, okay, this is the image. This is the image which the participants will be seeing as the front page. Okay, you add that image and click on the save button. Okay, next we'll get into the course curriculum. This is divided into 3 sections, which is the pre-course, in-course, and then the post-course. So in pre-course, we need to add first the section. Okay, you can have different sections in the pre-course. It depends upon what you would like to add. You can use this, add the one section and then add the details under that section. Okay, so click on add section. And mention the section name. So here I have given the pre-assessment. Click on new section. So section is added successfully. Now in this section you can add whatever you want to cover in the pre-assessment. It could be a questionnaire, it could be a quiz, it could be an assignment. Based on that you can click on these 4 different tabs. So I click on the add lecture and give the file name, okay, which is the pre-assessment customer focus. Put the title here, pre-assessment put the title here and say add lecture. Now the course material is added successfully. We need to add the content. So click on the add content. Here you can add the content in 4 different ways. It could be the video, it could be audio, it could be presentation, it could be a PDF file. Since I have a questionnaire which is in PDF file, I click the PDF button, click on browse, attach the pre-assessment questionnaire and say submit PDF. The PDF is uploaded successfully. So click on the OK button and close. Now we can add different segments in the same section. Now if you see here, our add content button is moved and we can view the attached file here. Now let me add a quiz and then show you how we could add that. Okay, click on the add quiz. Give the name as quiz and say add quiz. Click on OK. Now add question. Now the question that I have given here is a complaining customer is. You can add the question here and in n number of options you can give it. Say about 5 options are here. Now I have 4 options, so I click on 4 and add these options there. Now we also need to click on the right answer. Okay. Now the right answer for this is a customer is always the customer. So click on the option, the correct answer, and say save and go. So here, now your quiz is added successfully. Okay. So in this way, you can add any assignments, any practice sessions that you would like to give it to your participants. Next, we get into the in-course. It is in the same way how we have done the pre-course. So we need to add the section. So the section name, we can give it here as Enhancing Customer Focus. Say new section. Section is added. Now I'm going to add the manual. So I'm going to click here and say Enhancing Customer Focus Manual. The file name and say add lecture. Now we need to add the content here. So click on the add content. Now it's a PDF. Again, click on PDF, browse, attach the manual, say submit. The manual is uploaded. Close. Now I will just add one more to show you how do we put in the video. So say add lecture and add the file name. Say add lecture. Now here we add the content. Since it's a video, we need to click the video button. Okay, and either we can attach the file or we can give the YouTube link. So I'm going to give the YouTube link. Click on this button and then say submit video. The video is uploaded successfully. Similar way, we could also do the post course. So I'm just going to give you one example. Add section. A post assessment. This is the one that I'm going to give it. Say new section. And attach, I have a questionnaire here. So attach the file name. So post assessment. Okay, add the file name and say add lecture. After this, we need to add the content. Again, it's a PDF, so click on PDF, browse, and say post assessment, customer focus, submit PDF. So PDF is uploaded successfully. In this way, we have entered the curriculum. Again, to repeat, we can add different sections. We can have day 1, day 2 based on the number of days of workshop that we have, or based on the number of days and sections that you want the participants to take the course. Next, go to automatic messages. Here, we need to type the welcome message where you're welcoming the participants to take up the course. And also, congratulations message on completing the course successfully. And then you can click save. Now we have created the course successfully. Now this particular LMS app will work only on the Android phones. So I would request you all, whoever has the Android phones, to go to the Google Play Store. Okay, and Google Play Store and type Bodhi LMS. Bodhi LMS and download the app. Okay, download the Bodhi LMS app. Post you have downloaded, let me just continue. Now we have created the course. Now we need to publish the course. Now the course has been published successfully. Now we need to, the second we need to check here is how do you add the company. Okay, so go to create user, click on the company and create the company. Now since this is a test, I'm just using LMS Webinar and today's date. Address, again since it's a test, I'm going to use the body address. I'm just going to give the company website. Add the mobile number. Okay, and the email ID. Click on the active button and then say save. So now we have created the company. So next we need to create the participant. Okay. So I need to create first the company name. Click on add participant. Put the company name as LMS Webinar. Name as, okay, I'm going to add Sakshi as one of the participants here. Okay. And all other participants will be added backend by the technical team. This is just a demo. So I'm going to add Sakshi here. I'm going to retain the company address and all the other details as body's address and body details. I'm just going to add Sakshi's email ID. Okay, so let me just add the address here, email ID and address here. Okay, I've added the email ID, I've added the mobile number, job description, I'm just going to put it as HR. Okay, address, I'm just going to put the body address. All other details needs to be filled in. Click on the active button and then say save. So now the user has been added successfully. Now the last and the final step is we need to assign the course to the participant. So I'm going to assign this course to Sakshi. So click on my course. Click on the schedule. I'm going to choose the company name, LMS Webinar, 29 June. Click on Sakshi. Now, what are the other participants who are added? If you want everyone to view it, everyone's name has to be selected, which will be done backend. This is just for a test purpose. We need to enter the date for the pre-course. So, I'm going to choose today's date and end as tomorrow. It's mandatory to enter both the start and then the end date. In course, I'm going to take today's date and it's going to end on, I'm going to give you time till Monday, that's the 2nd of July. 2 days time to view take up the course. Post course normally takes about 21 days or 45 days. Since it's for a test purpose, I'm going to put today's date and again on the 2nd. Click on the save button. Now the course has been assigned successfully to Sakshi. So Sakshi, if you could, if you have already downloaded the Body LMS app, if you could log into with the username as the email ID that you have registered with us for the webinar. Okay, and the password is 1234. You can log in and then you can check the course which has been added. Now, any queries, you can always send in the message through chat. Now, just to let you know that we're still working on our user interface. So, if you could share your feedback, it will help us while we are working on the same. Okay, so any queries, please send in your chat messages and our technical team will be able to handle it. So, thank you so much. I would be handing over to Vinesh to wrap up the session. Thank you.
Okay, so thanks a lot, Rupa. That was fabulous. I think what this does for all of us is that whether you're working for an organization, whether you're a training manager, whether you're an independent consultant, freelancer, you have access to something which is so powerful and so integrated with technology that you can use this and you can personalize this. Okay, you can make this yours and use the Bodhi platform to allow all your participants to have access to pre-training, during training, and post-training support, hand-holding, whatever you feel like. So I want to just spend any kind of questions that you have. So if you do have any questions, I'm happy to take them. Sakshi says, I'm already registered with both the LMS and can see the course added by Rupa. Thank you, Sakshi. It's nice to see that. So yeah, so that means it's working fine. Okay. So those of you who want to do the same thing, you can download our app. Any other questions? Trini says, hey Trini, nice to see you. I talk about you often in some of my programs. So what are the commercials for this? Okay, I'm going to get somebody from the Bodhi team just to put up this on the site. Okay, which is the commercials. So somebody from the Bodhi team, could you please put up the commercials on the chat screen so that the other participants are able to see it? Okay, what else? Any other questions from anybody? I'm happy to take it. There's somebody who's personal messaged a question to me. Okay, I'm just going to read this out. Okay, I'm just looking at this question here. This person has said that, I am not so familiar with the use of technology. Is it too much of a jump for me to move from not using technology in my training to using the LMS? Well, not. It doesn't matter if you've been using technology or not in your programs. If you've been using a mobile phone, if you've downloaded some apps and used them, and as Rupa showed you, this whole thing is, what should I say, it's menu driven. So it tells you what to do. So it's like saying, I haven't used an ATM card before. Can I start using it? Will I know how to use it? Do I need to know be computer proficient? Well, if you go put your card there, it tells you exactly what to do next. Okay, so I don't think you should worry about that. To answer the question about Sakshi about commercials, well, right now it's free. Okay, since we have just started using this, since we've just got into this space, it's free. And those of you who want to use it can download it and use it. There's no charge whatsoever for it. In fact, I encourage you to download and use it for your next training program, and get participants to also download it so that they can see their progress. They can do post program follow up and support through the phone. Okay. What is this? Which says Mamta have downloaded the app, but what username? Okay, so Mamta, as Shashi has mentioned, somebody from our team will call you for support. Okay, to guide you through it. So those of you who have downloaded it, trying to download it, or you have some kind of glitch, please send us a message. You can get in touch with Shashi, or in fact, let me just put this up here so that you can. While I say thank you to you, I'm going to continue to be here. The details are on this screen. I think you can contact this email ID, or you can call us on this number, and one of our team members will help you download it properly, help you set up even a course if you like, and once you do it, I think you'll be able to do it from then on. Any other questions? I'm here for a couple of more minutes. I'm happy to take questions, but we have actually crossed the 1 hour limit, and I just want to let you know, as of now it's 12:03, it's exactly 1 hour since we started. I'm going to be here for 5 more minutes. I'm going to be here for till 12:08. If you have any more questions, I'm happy to answer your questions, and the others are welcome to hang on here. But those of you who had exactly blocked an hour, thank you very much for your time, and I hope you found the session useful. I encourage you to download the Bodhi LMS app and use it. For the others, okay, I have some questions here. Do share with me. This is my Bodhi webinars. Okay, thanks, Tashi, for that. Trini, is it only through app-based? No, Trini, you can also download it through your laptop. You can use it through your laptop as well. Because what Rupa showed you now, that was completely on the laptop. Okay, and like anything else, you can, like, I don't know how many people are aware, you can actually book an Ola cab through your laptop. You can actually use WhatsApp through your laptop. So just like that, you can also use this also through your laptop, or also through. As of now, it's through app training. Okay, thanks for the words, Sakshi. Okay, let me see. Do I have any other personal questions? Okay, here. There's another question by this person which says, is it a good idea to use all three, or can I just use, you can use any part of it. If you feel you're comfortable just using the pre-assessment, I think do that. If you feel you're comfortable using pre-assessment, using it during the training and after the training, I think you should do that. So I always encourage people to step into it slowly, get comfortable with it, and step in some more. If somebody starts, like I remember getting a mobile phone for my one of my old relatives, and he was very uncomfortable using a touch screen at some point. But now he's always on, he's always on the phone. So that's how it's going to be. Any other questions? Okay, I have no questions as of now. So if you do have any questions, you can put them up here. I'm happy to answer them. I see Shashi has said you will get in touch with Mamta, so maybe you can call Mamta. You can also call on this number, 99001161. Okay, I've put this number here. You can also call on this number, 99001161. Somebody from Rupa's team will help you with whatever questions you have regarding the LMS. Okay, looks like there are no more questions. So, folks, thank you very much. Thanks for your time. I encourage all of you to move from purely the classroom sessions into blended learning and into using technology to enhance learning effectiveness, enhance the impact of your training programs. All right. So, thank you very much. Have a good weekend. Have a good rest of the Friday, and I hope to see you sometime in the next upcoming webinars. Our team will keep you posted. Okay. Thank you very much. Bye bye.